Hey, it's Mike and welcome to this new video, and today let's talk about workflows from hell. By the way, this workflow you can see on your actually left hand side, I don't think it's for, I'm not absolutely 100% if it worked from hell, but it is very complicated. And by the way, I've downloaded this from Idalco website. You should check their website actually, they've got really great articles if you're watching this. Hello guys. So let's talk about this, like why workflow and why workflows from hell, because I'm just working with one of the clients and unfortunately overcomplicated workflow is a very common issue, and also to deal with this it's not that simple, and there are actually a few reasons, because it is so easy basically to build complicated workflow and later to revert that changes is always an issue. Always. Just like I've never actually seen like really simple scenario. But there is always something what you can do with this. And why this is actually complicated? Yeah, because very often people want like everything, yes, and just like keep adding statuses. Like for example, this one on what you can actually see on your left hand side. Yeah, it is really busy, and it can cause a lot of frustration, not for admins or like Scrum Masters or managers who actually manage projects, but also for standard Jira users. Not every single time, of course, but very often it can. I've actually seen some workflows, like even something like not even close to that, and users been extremely let's say unhappy, like really pissed about it, because to create a ticket and just move them through the statuses, it was a very long process. And I believe every single like this complicated workflow can be simplified, and there are some steps what you can do. I have some example for you. I would like to show you how I deal with this, what you can do with this, and like what steps. I'm just like looking at my notes. Like one of them is, for instance, utilizing multiple workflows. Some people still, to me, like a little bit surprised. Even Jira admins don't really use that. Maybe they know there is something like this. What I'm talking about. Please remember that in Jira you can have a workflow for bug, workflow for a task, and even for a subtask. They could be completely separate. And you can think, oh my god, it is so much work. Yes, at the beginning it is so much work, maybe potentially, but there are some benefits of that. Yeah. So very often when we use this epics, tasks, subtasks, stories, whatever, they're just like shoveling everything into one workflow, which is not great. The next one is you always talk to the team, about them, because as I told you, simplification of the workflow is a complicated process. And another very common issues, which I'm going to show you, just keep talking about. I'm just going to show you because we've got our system some exercise, is to find duplicated statuses. That's actually very common. You will be surprised, especially if you see some really complex workflows. There is a chance there are some actually duplications. All right, so I'll shut up right now, and let's actually jump into my Jira data center. So today I will be showing you this based on the Jira data center. However, the process is exactly the same in Jira Cloud. All right, let's get to it. All right, so let's see what we have right here. And as I told you, I hope this video is not going to be too long, but there is like a lot of steps what you can do. So let's see something like this. It is actually not something what you've seen on over here. Obviously, it's based on, let's say, loosely on some of my previous jobs. And why it is actually important to talk about this. So I already let's say perform a few steps. So first of all, always copy the workflow. So do not try to simplify your work from hell on a live project. Yeah, please don't do that. So you have to copy the workflow like me. So for instance, I've got this. For me, it doesn't really matter because it's actually demo, but normally I will copy the workflow and I will use some kind of test project, or even better is of course use the staging environment, especially if you have like me Jira data center. Yeah, so I'm going to go full screen, and I already stripped down this workflow from transitions. Yeah, and why? Because it's going to be easier. And what you can see right here is, as I told you, first step is find out about the duplication. Yeah. So would be really, really good to group them, like for instance, I group them like there. So like we've got, for instance, this completed, done, resolved, and we've got like something like work in progress. And so you can clearly see the statuses are duplicating. Yeah. So we could start removing them. But again, please be careful, because even removing status is not that simple. Why? If we have a copy of the workflow, if we have an empty project, of course that will work fine. However, if you're talking about the production, so you won't be able to remove a status from the workflow when it's in use. Yeah, so that's, of course, Jira is not going to allow you to do that. However, you can, of course, just do the transition and do it one by one. So as I told you, basically this process is really complex, and even for me, like I'm pretty well experienced in this matter. It can take me sometimes even weeks to optimize some really, really complex workflows. Yeah. But in my case, okay, cool, I am fine. So for instance, I don't really need to have work in progress and in progress. So one of the statuses can be removed. Yeah, cool. Next one, we have this actually open and to do. Yeah, again, I don't really need to have open and to do, because it's actually, again, duplication. So there we go, we can start removing. So already we have a good progress. Believe me, even this sometimes small steps are important. So I'm going to leave it, the bottom section, as it is. Why? Because there is something what I would like to show you. Okay, so now let's actually talk about this. We've got something like in progress and in review. So here I am not that sure this is actually duplication. So that's why I am not going to remove it. Why? Because I need to talk to my team. I need to talk probably to Scrum Master with product owner and see what we can do with this. Why? Because as you can see, there is something interesting going on over here. It looks like they're using this Scrum project also for QA tests. So that's why this is actually that not sure, how we can actually simplify it further. Okay, but now, as I told you, I am really, really big fan of simplified workflow. However, you cannot use all the time simplified workflows. And I know, almost every single time I have a very, very big resistance. People saying, we cannot use simplified workflow. What is a simplified workflow? Simplified workflow, so if we go back to my the demo Scrum project, which is let's say there. So the moment is actually using simplified workflows. So simplified workflows means you can move them across your board freely. There is absolutely no problem with that. Yeah. And that big advantage of that is, well, you're free. But there is also some disadvantage. The disadvantage is this workflow is not published. But the disadvantage is that you can actually take the done ticket and move it back to do. Or any status, like for instance, if we're going to start building up, I save it, we need to configure the board, and it's going to be like, for instance, 7 or 8 or 10 statuses. It means you can freely move them across any status in a board. So, interesting. Now that's an interesting subject, because very often people saying, "Oh, okay, we can't do that." So, but the question is like, why? Why you can't do that? Why not? Because I don't know, you do not trust people, or you think it's going to cause problems. There's going to be a lot of things, and well, there's no really right answer to that. But please don't forget, every single time, which people sometimes don't even remember about this, if you open, I'm going to go into the full screen mode, open an issue, and you're going to see something like activity is all, or you can just see activity. So every single time when you move it from status to status, you're gonna have Jira is basically gonna log it. Yeah, so it's not a problem again. But yes, in some cases that simplified workflow is not going to work. So let's go back to our work from hell. So in that case, if we cannot move 100% into simplified workflow, let's do something what I highly recommend, like a hybrid mode. Yeah, so what is a hybrid mode? So it's like a little bit simplify and a little bit not simplify. And to my surprise, very often when I introduce it to clients, that hybrid method, they're just saying, okay, that works, but there are some cases, of course, when people are, oh, it doesn't work because, people been moving tickets from whatever, something like straight away from to do to done. And it's like, yeah, if you do not allow it, like, what's the reason? People, they're not that stupid. They know, you can't do that. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to show you just what is that hybrid mode. But another one, because I'm keep looking about that in my notes. Another one very important step is introduce screens. So guys, screens, like even to me, another kind of surprise, people do not utilize screens related to workflows. I have a very dedicated, I have a dedicated video about screens, so I can actually post them into comments. But let me show you what I'm talking about. So we have this, let's say, bottom section, and we have 3 statuses. We've got completed, done, and results. So definitely there is a duplication. But okay, what is the problem over here? So there is a problem, which of course is Jira, so it could be solved, but not in a very simple way. So the issue is we would like to avoid. So we're saying like this. So done is done. It's like, what is really definition of done, you know? But we do not need at the moment resolved status. Okay, so I'm gonna start actually removing this. Cool. But the problem with my done is if it's gonna be on the board, of course, you know, if there is that status all, means people can move it from any location. And if you have a data center, there is a little bit easier way to do it, because using script runner, you can create a condition. And come on guys, if you are using script, if you're using Jira Data Center and you don't have a script runner, it's just stupid. I have to say that. So that's for another video. If you want, let me know, of course. Yeah. But why done and why completed? So I definitely do not like it. And I will talk to the team and I ask them, so like, what's the reason, you know, what is the reason? So maybe there is something because the QA team has special that status and maybe for them is done, but is not basically completed for the whole project. So again, I'm not probably gonna remove it from here. Maybe I'm gonna keep it for the ones I need to talk to the team. But again, you know, let's actually see what we can do with the QA. Yeah, because again, that is really important. So that's what I told you before. We have to introduce that hybrid mode. And I'm going to basically now start adding the transition. So this one is ready for test. Oh, come on. Yeah, like this. I'm just going to copy because I don't really. Yep. And we go for QA testing. Yeah, just copy, lazy method. And over here, it could be failed. Yeah. Come on, I just want to. One more. And no, I'm not nervous, by the way. In review, I'm gonna maybe, as I told you before, leave it somewhere aside and allow it maybe to do the transitions all to all. And again, in UAT, this is probably a duplication. So more likely I'm gonna talk to the team if I say, okay, this is duplication, definitely removing this. Yeah. Or request feedback. Do we really need that? Do we really need that? I am not absolutely sure about this. That's why I'm gonna put this aside. And yes, I'm gonna allow it to any status. Same about the blocked, you know, the blocked, in my opinion, it's a good status. And probably you should be allowed to use transition for all. Yeah, cool. So as I told you, I am not absolutely 100% sure what it's gonna do with done and completed. So at the moment, just for the simplification in my method, I decided right now to remove that status. All right, cool. So look at this. We already have a really good progress. Yeah. And well, the issue is, of course, you know, if we are going to have a ticket which is going to sit in QA failed, as you can actually see, you still will be able to do some movement. Yeah, so of course, you will be able to move them across those 3 or actually 4 statuses. Yeah, so in that case, I will probably remove that in progress all, and make sure that you have, sorry, that was actually wrong. So, that's stupid thing, but okay, we can fix it because I would like to do it in a different way. So I would like to actually keep it this, actually open, yep, but remove that transition from to do. So I don't want to really actually move any tickets from that status to do. Okay, so I am gonna remove it, delete transition. Cool, and look, of course, now it's a laboratory, so it's a very simple presentation. The workflow will not even close to this one. But just to really show, the method behind that, how that could work. Yeah. And again, done. I would just leave it as it is because why not? Why not? People, they maybe want to close it straight away. So if not, no. So doing like a little bit like small steps. And of course, there is actually still a lot of going on over here. As I told you, utilization of the screens. So what is actually how to utilize the screens? I said I have actually dedicated video, but very quickly I will show you so you don't want to jump from video to video. If you navigate to the transition, go to edit. And over here, we have something like screens. Yep. And I already prepared. I name it comment. Yep. But I will show you how to do it because it's so simple. So you just hit the dot, screens. It's going to be, of course, password. And you add a new screen. And just to add the comments, like a demo. Yep. So, of course, from here, I decided to use just comments. But if you would like to add, I don't know, due date, or you want to add log, you want to log work, or epic link, whatever, yeah, we can add it. But comment, of course, please remember there's no comments because comment is always minimum. So you're not going to find comments. So just leave it blank. Leave it blank and it's going to work absolutely fine. Cool. Look, guys, it works actually I think I'm pretty happy about this. So what I'm going to do, of course, save it. Yeah. So we're going to publish it. There you go. And next step, super important, is to map that columns into my Scrum board. Scrum, Kanban, doesn't really matter. Yeah? So I'm going to go to columns. And of course, now I have to start utilizing existing statuses. Yeah, I'm not going to do it, of course, but go for blocked. Yeah. So you hit enter and now blocked. Yep. And because I removed few statuses, don't forget that one column could hold multiple statuses. Again, I'm not really a big fan of that, but sometimes, unfortunately, is necessary. Because we can move into the very next, even, let's say, even bigger subject is that for workflows like this, when it's, for instance, not possible to simplify it, there is another secret weapon what you have. And of course, it is actually utilization of multiple boards. So what does it mean? You can create, so you need to, that's a little bit different process. So if you have a project like this and you try to reduce the amount of statuses, but it is still a lot, obviously do not go too crazy with amounts of columns. In my opinion, like up 7 to 11 is max number. So like 7, in my opinion, is optimum. Yeah? 11 is a lot, but sometimes, obviously, if you've got 20 or 25 and somehow it works for you, you should use it. But I probably never seen this before. And in that reason, like for instance, we have, let's say, dev team, we've got staging, QA, or we've got dev, QA, staging, production. Each teams could have one specific board. And that board could be limited to 5, 6, or 7 statuses. But the whole project could be like this. So that's another thing. But of course, I'm not going to show you because this video is about simplification of workflows from hell. All right, I'm going to finish that video right here. And please, if you have if you have any comments, if you have any thing to add it, let me know. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe. And in the description, I just restarted weekend workshops. And there is actually new course coming in for Jira administrator for dedicated for the data center. So if you want to become a Jira administrator in a data center, you're going to find a link in the description. So that's it for now. And don't forget to watch my other videos, which the playlist is going to show you right there. Thank you very much.